Tech by Tips.
Hello and welcome to another Tech by Tips video. Today's video is going to be based on a video request that we received in the channel quite a while ago, and I've gotten to this point in the queue, and this comes from badboybill007, and the request says, by any chance are you familiar with Linkding? If so, would you be able to do a video on setting it up? I love your channel and all the work you do to help us noobs out. So this application Linkding, we're gonna take a look at that right now. And if you go into github.com and then you go for the repository sysbruker, so you can probably see it there, SISSBRUECKER, and then /linkding, you'll get to the repository for this application that says that it's a self-hosted bookmark manager that is designed to be very minimal, fast, and easy to set up using Docker. And it is currently on release number 88, so that's pretty good. It's been worked on for a while, and it's healthy. It has 119 contributors. This application is mainly written in Python, so pretty good. The repository is pretty organized and it has good information also in here. And it also has a website that you can go and get details. So that is linkding.link. And in here, they give you like a screenshot here of what it looks like and talks about the features and all that stuff. And if you click on get started, it's going to take you to the installation where you can go to the Docker Compose section. It's going to give you a link to the Docker Compose file that they recommend, which is this one right here. I'm not going to be using this because it is using environment variables file and it's unnecessarily complicated for what I'm going to be setting up. So I'm going to give you, as usual, my version of this in the guides that you can find on GitHub. But I just wanted to make you aware of what it has and how you can get there and all of that. So here's more extra documentation on how to use the application and all that. So I recommend you come here and read more if you're interested. So let's go back to the repo. And it says, it's a bookmark manager. You can host it yourself. It is very minimal, fast, and easy to set up. It runs on Docker. And basically, it allows you to create bookmarks about websites that you like. And it's a very clean UI. You organize it however you want. You can put tags on them. You can edit in bulk, put markdown notes and all of that. So it's pretty useful if you're, if you are the type of person that has a lot of bookmarks. This would be definitely very helpful. And they also have some extensions that you can put on Firefox and Chrome so that you can create those bookmarks easier. I'm not gonna cover that. I mean, it's overkill, honestly, in my opinion. You can just go to your hosted instance and then very easily create the bookmark there. But there also it's available. You can use SSO with OpenID Connect, so you can use things like Authelia or Authentic if you want. I'm not going to cover that. It has a REST API if you want to create an application that connects to it. And it has an admin panel where you can create users and stuff like that. So pretty straightforward. It has a lot of good documentation in here. So pretty nice. I don't think we have to cover this much. The important thing is, how do we get this application running and how do we use it and stuff like that. So let's go and jump straight into that. Let's go into the virtual NAS for my lab. And in here, as usual, we're going to create the folder structure. This folder structure is going to be in the projects where we hold our Docker Compose files. We're going to have one for Linkding. It currently has nothing. And then we're in the containers folder in Docker where we hold our container data. I'm going to create a folder named Linkding in there that is going to hold all of our information. So that's all that we need when it comes to folder structure. So we're good with that. The next thing we do is we go into our container manager, we go to our projects and we create a new project. So Linkding, and then in here we're going to look for that path in the projects folder. So we store our Docker Compose in here. And then we're going to say we're going to create a Docker Compose file. I already have it in here, so let me copy it from what I put in the repository. And then we're going to discuss that. So next, don't start it, done, and then we'll see it here. So basically it's one container that's going to be Linkding, and it's going to be named Linkding, and this is the official image. I'm going to select the dash plus because allegedly this also has extra features where you can take like kind of like a screenshot of what the page looks like. So I haven't seen it in action, honestly, but it says that it is able to do that. So if you're not gonna use that, you can just put latest, and that's gonna give you the version that doesn't have that. But this image is a little bit bigger, so just know that. And then we're gonna be running this as the administrator user in the NAS that has permissions to read and write the folders that I created. And then we just need to specify a few variables here. One of them is our super user, so our administrator. The username is going to be admin in my case. You can change it for whatever you want. And then a password for that user. I'm going to put password for the sake of the video, but you change it to something that is secure. And then there's two options in here that are currently disabled, but is if you want to disable the background tasks, you can do that in here by putting this to true. And if you want to disable the URL validation, you can also put that true, and then it'll stop doing that. Now it listens on port 9090 on the container. I'm going to expose it on port 9090 on the NAS, and then I'm going to mount that directory that I created previously to this in the NAS, which is Etsy Linkding data, and that's where it's going to store all of our information. And we're going to say restart this container unless we manually come here and stop it. So this should be enough. This should get us that container. That container is going to store all of its files here in this folder that is currently empty, and it should give us a user interface that has a username and password. So we can save this, and then we can build it. In my case, it's going to be fast. I already downloaded the image, so we got the exit code 0, and we got the notification here that everything is working well. We go into the containers, we see Linkding, and then we go into the logs and just make sure that we follow these logs to make sure that everything is working. So right now it is still loading. Let's give it a little bit of time. Here we go. So now it's preparing the database. It is using a SQLite database because I did not specify a PostgreSQL, which is the other option. I honestly didn't see any point in having a PostgreSQL. If it's going to be like hosted locally or maybe a few friends are going to use it, I don't think it's going to be something that warrants having a SQL database. So this is going to be using SQLite, which is a SQL database in a file. That's more than enough. If we come here now, we refresh, we see we have our database here for the application. We have a secret key, the tasks, SQLite file, and a bunch of other stuff here. So now it's working, it's creating all the things that we need. And it looks like it stopped. Yeah, it's stopped and it's working already because we see requests. So let's go here into the app. It's going to be the IP of the NAS, and then it's going to be port 9090. And whenever I click on that, the first thing we're going to get is the login. And in here, we're going to be using the credentials that we put in the Docker Compose. So it was admin and then password in my case. And then when we click on login, it's going to take us to the application. So at this point, we don't have anything. So it says you have no bookmarks. And then it says you can add them by clicking on the add bookmark, or you could import if you have existing bookmarks that you're exporting from somewhere else, and all of that. So the first thing we're going to do is I just want to cover, this is the dashboard, right, where you see all the stuff that you have. We can add a bookmark here. We can click here on the bookmarks, and we can filter based on tags or whether they're being read or not and stuff like that, or they're being archived. Then you have your settings here, and in the settings we have three options. We got the general settings. So this is the first thing is about your profile. So you can make changes to your profile, like your theme, how you want the date to show up, if you wanted the description inline or separate, stuff like that. If you want to show the URL, if you always want to show the nodes, how do you want to open the bookmarks when you click on them, how many per page, stuff like that. So this is up to you. This is just customization to however you want it to look. I'm not going to change much here. I just want to highlight that you can enable favicons, so that it has the favicons on the bookmark. You can enable the preview images, and then you can also integrate with the Internet Archive. So if you want to enable that, you can do that. And you can share your bookmarks. There's several ways you can do that there, publicly or sharing it specifically with people. And then you can create the automatic HTML snapshots. This is the part that I was talking about, where if you enable this, it's going to look at the image when you create the bookmark and create like a snapshot of how it looked like at the time. You can make them on red by default when you create them. There's a lot of options. The important thing is if you make changes to your profile, make sure you click the first save button here so that it saves your changes here to the profile. And if you make changes down here to the other sections, then make sure that for the global settings, you change and save here. And basically that's it. There's not a lot of settings here. If you click down on integrations, it tells you about the extensions that you can install in Chrome and Firefox. And pretty much that's most of it. And then in here in the admin, you get to the actual administration portal where you can create users, you can work with the other things that are related to the bookmarks here. And honestly, there's not much that you can do here in the administration portal, but just know that it is there and play with it. And then if you go here and view site, then we go back to the dashboard. So let's say that we're going to create a dashboard and we're not going to be using the extension. So you just click here where it says add bookmark, and then you put the URL. So let's say, for example, I want to put google.com, and I'm going to say this is a search engine as a tag, and then the title is going to be Google, and then it auto-populated a description here from Google. So that's good enough for me, and I'm going to save it. And when I save it, it shows up in here in my dashboard as an option. And you see here there's an image. This, I'm assuming that is running through creating that image in the background. Like I said, if you selected that option there, it should have an image here that you can see, but I have not seen it honestly populating here, so I don't know why. I also have not seen any errors in the logs, so I don't know if it's maybe something that takes time to do. But then we can click here on Google. It's going to take us to the website here because it's a bookmark. And basically here you can see your tags that you created. They show up in here. And you can mark it as unread, remove it, archive it, whatever. So it's pretty straightforward. It's a way for you to keep a list of your bookmarks so you can tag them so it's easier for you to find them. You can search them in here. So straight up, easy. I think it's a good application if you are one of those people that has a bunch of bookmarks in your browser and it becomes unbearable or hard to keep track and find things. This will definitely be a good tool for you. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I hope this was enough to satisfy their request. If you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Leave me comments in the comment section below because as you can see, a lot of my videos are based on video requests. And I also try to help out the people whenever they're having issues in the comment section whenever possible. And you should have noticed there was no ad on the video because I'm not monetizing the YouTube channel. So that means YouTube should have not posted an ad on my video, but that also means that the effort that I put into making these videos yields no return. So if you like the content and you want to support me, there's a link in the description box to PayPal where you can donate. I shout out to the people that donate using PayPal. And also there's a Bitcoin wallet address if you prefer to do it that way. So that's going to be it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.